welcome to the second episode of this You've Got This series. In this episode, we're going to be exploring the life and journey of a player who has taken the Premier League by storm. A player who seems to be banging goals in like there's no tomorrow. And a player who has every single big boss in football with their eyes fixed on him. Of course, in this episode, we're going to be talking about Hugo Ekitike. Now, if you haven't listened to the first episode in this little mini-series, You've Got This is about starting a new class with maybe a new teacher. Maybe you're going to a new school in maybe a completely new area. Now, let's all talk about one of the biggest worries of them all when it comes to starting anywhere new, never mind a new school, and that is, will I make any new friends? It can feel daunting, can't it? Walking into a new classroom or stepping out into a new playground or a playing field or whatever it is. It's a bit like joining a brand new football team. You feel like everyone seems to know the passing moves, the inside jokes and the routines. And there you are, wondering who's going to pass you the ball. Every single person, every player has been there once. Mo Salah didn't walk into Liverpool already best friends with everyone, and Bukayo Saka wasn't instantly the heartbeat of Arsenal on his first day when he trained with the first team. Friendships in school are just like football. They take time. And trust me, there will be some people who are amazing actors, who you don't think are nervous and you don't think they want to make any friends, but inside they want someone to chat to, someone to have lunch with, someone to spend times with on their breaks, more than you could ever imagine. They just can't bring themselves to pass the ball first. Now, to make friends, you've got to do something which doesn't come natural to a lot of people. Maybe even most people. And that is, you've got to be brave. Brave enough to make the first move. Say hello. Ask someone a question. Invite them to join in with you, whatever you're doing. That's what I mean when I say pass the ball. It doesn't just mean kicking a football. It means offering someone a smile, sharing a joke, or simply starting a conversation. Those are the little passes in life that get friendships going. They're really, really hard for some people to do. But once you do it, and once you've been brave enough to make that move, I promise you, almost always some good will come out of it. And remember this, you will not click with everyone. And that's absolutely fine. Not every teammate becomes your best mate forever. And not everyone you meet is going to be your kind of person. And some people won't be nice. And that's not on you. What matters is that you keep being yourself. Keep passing the ball in those little ways. And trust that your type of people will find you. The ones who will laugh at your jokes, stick with you on tough days, and celebrate with you when things go well. I've been exactly where you are. So has Mo Salah, Beth Mead, Cristiano Ronaldo, Alexia Putellas, every single adult listening to this, every single teacher working in your school, every single person you meet in your life has been there and they know what it's like. So don't panic if it doesn't happen straight away. Friendships take time to grow, just like great teams do. Be yourself, be kind, and be brave enough to start the conversation and ask questions. And remember, you absolutely have got this. Right then, let's get into it, shall we? On the story of Hugo Ekitike. His journey begins in Reims, in France, a city famous for champagne, though Hugo was far more interested in footballs than bubbles. Born on the 20th of June 2002, he grew up kicking a ball around his hometown and started out at local sides. His talent was obvious from early, and by 2013, he had joined the Stade de Reims. From there, he worked his way up steadily through the ranks until 2020, when he signed his first professional contract and made his senior debut. It was the start of something very special. Hugo's family had proud roots in Cameroon and in France, and that mix of cultures gave him a richness in life, a blend of backgrounds that he's carried proudly with him in his football. Then came a bold step. In early 2021, aged just 18 years old, Reims sent him on loan to Vejle Bold Club in Denmark. Imagine it, a teenager in a new country, short winter days, freezing nights, and not a word of Danish in his vocabulary. It could have been overwhelming, But Hugo got to work. He trained hard every single day. He earned the trust of his teammates, and soon his coach was calling him a perfect player for modern football, praising his pace, skill, power and his finishing. In 11 games for the club, he scored 3 goals and made 2 assists. He didn't just impress on the pitch, he was impressive off of it as well. He won hearts with his energy and his positivity. Reporters talked about his infectious smile, how he'd be the first person to get up and dance if music was playing, and how his quick feet in training sometimes left the older players stunned. His coach played him out wide to unleash his speed, and Hugo delivered with goals and assists like you wouldn't believe. In the end, what shone through was more than just talent. It was his courage. A teenager who could have shied up away from the challenge. Instead, he embraced it, adopted it, and proved that his mix of skill, personality and hard work could light up on any stage, even in a cold Danish winter. When Hugo Ekitike returned to Reims for the 21-22 season, he wasn't the same player who had left on loan. He was stronger, sharper and more confident. Like a young knight returning from his first quest, he was ready to prove himself, and prove himself he did. That season he played in 26 matches across Ligue 1 and the French Cup, scoring around 10 goals and adding a handful of assists. For a teenager in one of Europe's toughest leagues, this was no small feat at all. French media reported that he had burst onto the scene, and suddenly fans of Reims were buzzing with excitement whenever Hugo got the ball. Coaches could see that they had something special on their hands. A forward with mixed pace, power and calm finishing in front of goal. Hugo Ekitike seemed to have it all. Word spread quickly beyond France, and by the summer of 2022, clubs across Europe were circling, eager to snap up this rising star. And then came the call from the capital. In July 2022, Paris Saint-Germain had announced that they had signed Hugo on a season-long loan with the option to buy. Reports suggested PSG already valued him around €35 million, even before the deal had become permanent. It was a huge step, from a modest team in a modest place to the bright lights of Paris and the capital city. For Hugo, it was the start of a brand new adventure, with the football world watching closely to see just how far this young striker could go. At PSG, Hugo Ekitike suddenly found himself in a dressing room packed with superstars: Lionel Messi, Kylian Mbappe and Neymar. He was wearing the famous red and blue shirt of PSG, and Hugo stepped onto the biggest stage of his career. In the 22-23 season, he made 33 appearances across all competitions, even tasting the magic of the UEFA Champions League for the very first time. Goals weren't easy to come by in a team where legends were already filling the attack, but he still scored around 4 in the league and in the cup. More importantly, he finished the campaign with a Ligue 1 winners medal, and PSG went on to win the title. Imagine it, training every single day beside the likes of Lionel Messi, Neymar and Mbappe, watching, learning and soaking it all in. For the 21-year-old striker, it was an education like no other. Later, Hugo admitted his time in Paris was not the happiest moment of his life, but he also said it was a necessary part of his journey and it helped him to grow and to improve. And that's an important reminder. Even future stars have their ups and their downs. It's all a part of life. In January 2024, PSG arranged a loan move for Hugo Ekitike and he joined Eintracht Frankfurt in Germany. Frankfurt were rebuilding their squad and saw big potential in the young striker. Their sporting director welcomed Ekitike in warmly, praising him as a young player who'd already proved his potential. Hugo made an impact straight away. In the first half of the season at Frankfurt, that was the spring of 23-24, he scored 4 goals and added 2 assists to his record. The club were impressed by his performance, and in the summer of 2024, they signed him permanently. But it was the 24-25 season that proved to be Hugo's real breakthrough. He played 33 Bundesliga matches, scoring 15 goals and supplying 8 fantastic assists. Often paired with his fellow striker Omar Mamouche, who we need to do an episode on, the two formed a dangerous partnership. When Mamouche left for Manchester City in January 2025, Hugo showed that he could lead the line by himself, carrying the attack with confidence. By the time the season had ended, Hugo had 26 goals in 64 games across the league, the cup and European competitions. He was rewarded with a place in the Bundesliga team of the season. His highlight of the international stage came that spring, when he scored a brilliant hat-trick for France's under-21 side against England, a performance that underlined his growing reputation as one of Europe's brightest young stars. Frankfurt thrived too, finishing third in the Bundesliga and reaching the Europa League quarter-finals. Ekitike's pace, strength and sharp finishing were on display all year round, and fans in Germany quickly learned that when he had the ball at his feet, he did special stuff with it. Right, for Patreons and the Apple Podcast subscribers, the story continues for you uninterrupted. For everyone else, we'll be back after the break. In July 2025, Premier League champions Liverpool swooped in for Hugo Ekitike. On July 23rd, the club confirmed the deal. The 23-year-old forward had completed his medical, agreed personal terms and swapped Frankfurt for Anfield. It's reported that Liverpool paid an initial £69 million with more to come. Within days, Hugo was on a plane to Hong Kong to link up with his teammates on their pre-season tour. At Liverpool, he could join the attack led by new manager Arne Slot. Hugo later explained that a video call with Slot quickly convinced him to join the team. The early signs were thrilling. In the 2025 Community Shield against Crystal Palace, Ekitike opened his Liverpool account with style. Just 4 minutes into the game, he curled a cool finish into the net from the left side. And that's where the Hugo Ekitike story brings us so far. From the streets of Reims, to the cold winter in Denmark, to the bright lights of Paris, to the goals of Frankfurt, and finally to Anfield at Liverpool. Think about that journey. He didn't know if he'd settle in at Denmark. He didn't score as many goals as he wanted to at PSG, and he had to keep proving himself over and over again. But Ekitike never gave up. He worked, he learned, and he kept on moving forward until his chance came. And that's the part that matters. Hugo isn't a superhero. He's a person, just like you and I. He's faced challenges, he's had many a doubt, but he stayed brave. He believed in himself, and he trusted the process. And really importantly, he never, ever gave up. So whatever you're dreaming of, whether it's football, school stuff, music, art, whatever it is you want to achieve in your life, remember this. You don't have to be perfect. You don't have to have it all figured out from day one. Just keep turning up, keep working, and keep being you. The setbacks are part of the journey, and so are the breakthroughs. If Ekitike can go from a boy in Reims to scoring goals in front of thousands, then you can take your own first steps in whatever you're dreaming of. Keep going, keep believing in yourself, and never, ever give up. So remember, if you know someone who loves football just as much as you do, then please tell them about the Football for Kids podcast. And whether you're playing football soon, watching it on the telly, or pitch side, I hope that you enjoy the game. See you next time.
This podcast is part of the Sports Social Podcast Network.